Hello and welcome back to All Around Us Photography. I'm hoping you're back. If you are a new viewer, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified whenever there are new videos that I post. I try to post at least once a week. Anyways, today we're going to be going over how to construct a outdoor perch, right? So one of the advantages, and I'll cover this later on in the video, one of the advantages, of course, is of an outdoor porch is you just have the control over, what it looks like. We use cuttings from your yard if you have plants around there, or if you were to go out into the wilderness and find sticks or twigs or anything that has fallen down and you can pick and use as a perch. But you can kind of control that. It's relatively inexpensive. And because it's in a controlled environment, you can get very sharp, close, very tight shots on birds. You really don't have to have a super zoom lens at that point, right? Because you're fairly close to the subject. There are several photographers that are out there who publish pictures. You don't know. Sometimes they're just on a perch, and it's okay because it gives you that controlled environment. I'm going to have to admit that there's two perches that I put together. The first one that you're going to see is a perch that I've had for a while. It's made of this old branch, and I ended up, you could see where I drill it out and build some areas where I can put some seed. But if you watch later on in the video, I'll explain exactly what happened, why why there's a different perch in all of the footage that you're going to see. So let's go ahead and get to it. We're going to start with the drill. So one of the things that I've done is, as you see in the bucket of pea-sized, they call it pea-sized stone. And this stone is used just to keep this fence post, in place. So we prep the perch. What I did was I found a stick out. Hold on. So I picked this up in the local forest that's around here. It's just a dead tree branch, and I like it because it has some moss and lichen that's still kind of on it. An alternative of that is sometimes you can I pulled off, cut this ivy, or I don't even know what it is. I'm not an herbologist, but this creeping vine. And sometimes these are good to use as well. You can kind of put them here. Now, the only disadvantage with this is it's going to die, of course, and wither and won't look very good. Whereas if you could find the right branch, then this could last all season, maybe into the next year or so. But I'll show you exactly what I do to mount this, so that we can attract as many birds as possible. The key is that birds are, they like to have a high point to perch before they go get their food. So if you look, I have the actual bird feeder right here, and it's lower than where we're going to put our perch, which is right here. And so the birds will naturally go to the highest point before trying to get the food. That way they can kind of scout it out and see if there's any kind of predators around. That's the idea the birds are doing. But all right, so let me go ahead and show you what I do to get this mounted. So one thing that I always start off with is these twist ties. I get like 14-inch long zip ties, and I'm going to use these to actually mount them to this. You don't want to put the zip ties close to where the best part of the perch is, because then you're going to see the zip ties in your photographs. You don't want that. So where we want the birds to land is going to be to the left or to the right of this center mounting post. So, all right, so let me get that ready, and I'm going to get right to it. So we're going to be mounting it roughly right here. We have the higher point over here where hopefully the birds will land. Now another thing to note, I have these plants back here, and when we're done with this, I'm probably going to stick the perch on the other side. That way the plants are kind of in the forefront, and the branches are kind of they're kind of hidden behind these flowers here. So let me get the zip ties ready, and I'll show you what I do to get this all tied up. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that whatever you use, you have an anchor point that can at least support the branch. So I'm going to be putting in the first zip tie right here. I'm just going to loop it around like this. And let's get this zip tie. And, you know, the nice thing about the zip ties are they're relatively inexpensive, and so if you want to cut them off and reposition the branch anywhere else, you can do that. So let's get this zip tie going. So that should act as our anchoring point. We need another one to kind of pull it up. So I'm going to stick the zip tie through this other hole here. And let's get that. Pull this around. So there we have our zip ties holding this up, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a third one down through this anchor point just to stabilize it a little more, like that. Okay, so here we have our branch that's now tied to the post, and you can see, you know, how we plan to we're putting the branch higher so that you can catch the the bird. So let's take a look. So not so bad. If I were to zoom in on something, ignore the plants behind us right now, you can get an idea of what that would look like, right? But what we want to do is try to get the birds to appear right up there. Okay, so I repositioned the branch here. As you can see, it's behind the flower pots, so looks a little more realistic. You can't really see the zip ties. Once I tie them off or cut them out, you may not be able to see it. Of course, the post is still there. You don't want to have to deal with the post. Well, let's look up here. Here's where our perch is going to end up being. Here's where we're hoping to catch the best photos. Of course, we're going to have to wait for the birds. And so there's our version 1 of the perch. Definitely not the best, but for demonstrational purposes, I think it works out for us. All right. The dogs are being crazy, but you can see some of I got one of the vegepods behind me over here that it looks absolutely horrid now because it's starting to, they're dying. It's the end of the season. So, yeah, no good. Don't pay attention to those. Just look here, right here. Look right here. Okay. So, yeah, the perch is doing very well. You can kind of see it there. And I'm just happy with the way that it turned out. So yeah, this is the morning, the next day when the birds are active. So like I said, I have some good video of it. Greta, Billy. Come here. Say hi to everybody. Bill. Say hi. Right here. Look at this. That's Billy. Billy like in Billie Eilish. She's a girl. Anyways, I just wanted to wrap up this video with showing you some of those shots that I got from the perch, just to give you an idea of what you can accomplish by just a simple perch. What's important to note, as I mentioned earlier, is that the perch needs to be higher than the actual, like the bird feeder, where all the seeds are, because they're going to come in and, you know, scope out to make sure that there's no problems, and then jump to get the food. I blocked up all the holes except for one, right? So all the holes are blocked up except for this one. And what that does is it incentivizes the birds to go to this perch here and wait in line, you know, or wait along this area for food to get available. If you open up all the holes, then they'll probably go to one of the open ones instead. So yeah, I'm hoping that you enjoyed the video and you've learned something, getting the perch and how you can build your own perch. I do want to give credit where credit's due. All right, I didn't come up with this idea. I followed some ideas. There were several YouTube content creators that kind of gave me the idea, showed me how to do it. I made some variations on it. I think they've done a better job, and and the people you can look at is Duade Paton and Jan Wegener. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but I'll put links to their channels in the description below. They really kind of showed me what you can do with a perch, and they also indicated that, like, you know, a lot of photos that you see that are really close to birds, not all of them are taken in the wild. Some of them are done with perches like this, but that's the little secret if you want to get good photos of birds. So I will see you in the next video. I hope you join the channel. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe and like. It really helps me out as a small content creator. All right. Take care. Whilst I was working on this video, it fell, it dropped, and it broke. And you can probably see these screws that I tried to put in to salvage it. Well, it stuck back together. It's just that I didn't like how it looked, and it has this big crack in it, and if you don't position it just right, you can see the screws. So, you know, again, it's all about making it look somewhat realistic, and this didn't do it. One thing that I did do, it's going to be a little more difficult to do on this one, so we'll have to come up with a better approach. I drilled these holes, these I shouldn't say holes, they're little divots here, right? Just kind of pulling it, just giving this space to put some seed. And again, the nice thing about doing that is you can attract birds right to the perch in that area. I'll show you some pictures that I took with this right after I did this, before I dropped it. And you'll be able to, in fact, I'll put it up right now. You can see here are these two cardinals that are, believe it or not, it's the female feeding its young bird. Is kind of old. It's almost ready to leave the nest. It looks like an adult, but you can tell by the feathers it's not quite there. Plus the breeding season is over and the colors aren't always there yet. The female's kind of lost some of her color, but you know, you can see where they're basically, you know, she's still feeding the little bird. So anyways, broken. Too bad. We have the new one. I'm happy with that.